Hello and welcome to the SkyPunk Media podcast with me, Johnny Travers, Ryan Clark with a hat, and we've got Troy McJohnson, who's currently playing Ori on Xbox Game Pass or something. We currently started a website a few months ago, and we've just recently moved to YouTube, and we thought we have so many chats about gaming, we thought we'd just bring it onto the YouTube platform, and you could listen to us talk rubbish about games and those opinions. Today, we're mainly going to focus on the PlayStation 5 launch, seeing as me and Ryan were lucky enough to get ourselves a console. Ryan, I know you pre-ordered it. I don't remember. Did you say it were easy to pre-order or?
Yeah, so I went through. I just went through Amazon. I heard that there was pre-sales. Because I remember they had the showcase, the mini showcase where they were showing all the games and they revealed the pricing, and then some retailers basically unlocked their stock and allowed people to buy it. But for me, I had alarms set for Amazon, and luckily the mobile site wasn't working, but I managed to go through on the desktop and it was quite easy. They sold out within about half an hour. I guess I was just in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, that's not bad. I didn't know if it was going to be easy for you, but that sounds easy on launch day, because you both know that I got it on launch day, and I think it was 6 hours, but I think it was about 7 or 8 hours I spent on launch day trying to bag myself one, because every website that said that they're going to have them crashed, went down, and then I ended up in a queue for about an hour for game, and then managed to bag myself one. But thing was that I had another mate who joined the queuing game 10 minutes after me, and his wait time were an extra like 2 hours. And back to what time I got on, there hardly any left, so he didn't have a chance with it. But it was probably one of the hardest console releases I've known, and I should have pre-ordered, but back then I didn't even actually think I was going to get one. And then it got close, and I got a bit excited, and I'm like, I want one.
Your journey was just so fun. Like you just like, oh,
I was stressing so bad. All that work, if I didn't get one by the end of it, I'd have been well pissed off, I'm telling you. I think I only enjoyed the thrill because I actually got one in the end. If I had worked all that day and not got one, I'd have been pissed off about it, man.
Nah, to be fair, it's you got there. You were, it is now in your possession. So
it is my baby. She's downstairs at the moment. Sophie, my partner's playing on it. She's got Cold War. She's on it. She's a little gamer. Better than I am with controller on Cold War, but yeah, got that.
Talk about your PS5.
You are?
Is your PS5?
I know, she's down there, bless her. Don't cause me any problems. Then you got Sophie.
Call of Duty.
So, how are things going with the PlayStation, Ryan? I know you've had a few problems along the way, but I don't think I've experienced anything so far, but I know you have, and I've heard it on the internet. So what's been going on?
Yeah. Well, luckily, because obviously there were some horror stories with Amazon. Even if we go even into the shipping, like there were some horror stories that people were getting just random items like rice and Foreman grills in their packages. But luckily, like I got mine really early. I think it was like 9 o'clock that the Amazon driver came and dropped it off. And I'd only woken up. I hadn't even finished my toast. It was just like, oh, here you go. So yeah, like no issues at all with me. Playing it, it's been a joy, I must say. It's been, for example, if you go into powering up the console, the setup was really easy. A number of accessibility options, loved it. In terms of issues, the only issue that I've really seen was actually, one's more of a tentative, the other is an issue. The tentative one is, even though like the heat of the console, obviously you feel the top of the fan, it's nice and cool, but obviously that's where the fan is centered. But me being naive, I realized there is still a lot of heat coming out the back, but it's not like it's a PS4 jet engine, for example, so where it's just powering out heat and it's basically becoming like a second heater. So that's fine. It's just consoles are going to produce heat anyway, so it's not really a problem. But the main issue for me was because I buy a lot of my games physically. Look, there's a bunch of them there.
We've seen.
And from it's almost like just like, oh, here you go, here's everything. There's other bits. But one thing the one launch game I got was Demon's Souls, and I've had to install it 3 times, and I've only realized that it only happens when you remove the disc. If you keep the disc in, absolutely fine. But the moment I remove it and put it back in, there's been a couple of occasions where it started to pull the data from the disk again and basically just reinstall it, which is an absolute pain because I know it's like, oh, I'm going to have to wait 30 minutes, but it's already installed. I never really had anything like that on the PS4. So it's just strange. Hopefully it's something they can patch in a future update, but it hasn't. I've played it a couple of times this week and I haven't really noticed it since. So
is it just when you just, even when you're not doing it and you just take the disc out, does it uninstall it then, by the looks of it?
Well, it doesn't uninstall it. It remains installed and just says, here's, you've got the game installed. But the moment that I put it in and it loads it up, it just seems to think it's a new install and then just copies the data. It's just really strange. I don't know whether it's because of an update. I'm not really too sure, but it's strange. Hopefully, I've asked for some more PS5 games for Christmas, so hopefully this is maybe just like a one-time thing, but we'll see.
Well, you say that, but we got that Sackboy on disc, and to be honest, we've only just removed the disc the other day. We haven't put it back in since, so I wonder if it's going to do the same. But I've noticed that when you're installing an update or anything like that, it does specifically say don't remove the disc, which puzzled me. I was like, why not? So I'm kind of thinking, did Sony know there were a bit of an issue maybe, and I thought it only happened when you were installing updates or something like that? But it looks like it's something that's just happening quite often, because that's what I read about it. When you said you had a problem with installs, I thought, I've read about this, and someone's installed Assassin's Creed like 7 times, he said, and you were complaining about that.
7 times?
Yeah, 7 times. Unfortunately for everybody who's watching, Theo didn't get a PlayStation 5, but he's on the Xbox One, I believe, and PC.
Xbox.
Game Pass is grueling his way through Ori at the moment.
How is it? Is it good so far?
Oh, it's amazing. I'm only on the first one, Blind Forest. It's rock solid though, even on normal.
I'm going to say I've had a few profanities messaged from him playing, and I tried playing it yesterday actually, and I forgot to save after I did a bit, and that would end for me.
You'll learn your lesson, I'm telling you that.
Yeah, it's really good. It's gorgeous graphically, and that's I think it's a sequel that actually got the Game of the Year for the Xbox.
I started playing and I went back because I realised they were the first one, but I just love the Oriental theme to it. It's so heartfelt, brilliant.
Yeah, I love the art style. It's really impressive. But it's meant to be an emotional story, but I haven't really touched on that apart from the opening of the first game.
Yeah. With
Ori and his foster father, I'm guessing.
I'm gonna have to check this out. I'm usually just a PlayStation, but I've delved into a bit of Xbox. I'm the only one who doesn't have a PC out of us lot, so it's I do have a PC. It's just a bargain bin one.
I'm telling you, Ori is like the Dark Souls of platform games by the looks of it so far.
Like Rayman, I love this. Honestly, I'm telling you.
Yeah, it relates back to like Crash Bandicoot and Rayman. When we thought it were really easy, but now when you go back, they're like the most difficult games going, because I can't even recomplete Crash Bandicoot anymore. And Rayman, once you get to that music Bandcamp level, I'm done with it now. I don't know how we did it as kids.
I don't
about it.
I think at the time it was just, I think with those 3D platforms, they were still adapting to the technology, and I think I think the easiest way, and I think it's why games like Crash and Spyro and Rayman, they've kind of stood the test of time because they were fairly simple in design and they were gorgeous in presentation for what was capable for the system. And I think it was just that combination where they could afford to possibly be a little bit difficult, a little bit sly in terms of, your foot was basically just over, but now you just fell down. So it made those more challenging and more engrossing.
Yeah, well, what I noticed is because Sophie tried playing Crash Bandicoot the other day, and she died about 7 times on the first level. And what I've noticed is that she hesitates a lot. Then it got me thinking, with all these old platformers like Mario, Crash Bandicoot, Rayman, hesitation is the thing that kills you. If a lot of them, if you can just run through the level and you know what's coming, you can get through it with a breeze. But once you start hesitating and thinking about things, that's when mistakes happen from them.
I think that's it. As a kid, you're just immune to all rational thoughts. So you don't hesitate with anything.
That was my exact thought.
we just ended up being pretty good.
We think about it too far because we're used to like these games being a bit more complex and we're used to danger and things, so we like to take care. But as a kid, you're just oblivious to it all and you'll just run straight through it. So I think that's the big thing with us.
Nostalgia, love it.
Oh no, tell me about it. But anyway, back to the PlayStation 5. No issues on my part so far. I'm a bit worried now about the disc install thing. After this, I'm gonna go down and put Sackboy and see if it works.
I feel like I've jinxed it now.
Well, I've got to pull her off Cold War at first because she won't get off it. Even though, actually, I have had some issues with Cold War, but that ain't.
Would you have?
Not a PlayStation issue as such. It's the game. Well, I had a friend come around the other day and we were playing the split screen online. And we noticed after playing it for like maybe a game or two, it'd start lagging. And then all of a sudden it'd come up with an error message. And then it's also done it playing solo as well. But I've heard there's been some problems with launch and things like that. But everything's been fine. Like the heating on the PlayStation that everyone worried about, it's fine. The console does not get warm, but it does emit a lot of hot air out the whole entire back. But that's what we wanted. We wanted good airflow. Because I'm a bit worried now. I'm going to have to cut a hole in the back panel of my TV unit because if you put your hand in the box where the actual PlayStation is, it's red hot.
Ooh.
Yeah, Sophie's not too worried about it, but I'm like, no, you don't understand. It needs airflow. That's what these things are built for. They need the airflow. They can't be placed in that hot condition for so long because it just damages it. But yeah, it's still quiet. Even though it's emitting hot air, it's not like the PlayStation 4. Like I've told you, and I'm in room, I don't have much space. So in here, I've got to put the PlayStation 4 on the floor and I had to put a slipper underneath it because when it's reading the disc, it just vibrated the floorboards. It was ridiculous.
What would you compare the size to? Would you compare it to the size of a tower? Or?
I'd compare it to the height of like a mini PC, I think.
Yeah.
It's a big boy.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's pretty thin on width. Like you've got the Xbox Series X, which is like quite thick on sides, but not as tall. But then you've got a PlayStation, which is thin, sprawls out, but it's really big. But
I might get one.
I don't see it as much of it. I know a lot of people had issues with the size of it and the look of it, but I know comparing it to PC, like my PC's here, it's massive. Exactly. Your PC's big and it's not got much in it, but it's airflow at the end of the day. You want a lot of power into a system.
There's a couple of sprites in there turning a cog.
Is it still managing? Is it still alive, your computer?
It can do what I want it to do, but not much else.
Yeah, it runs Flight Simulator for us, so we're happy with that. Well, it kind of does. After about a 15-minute load when we get in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's... Oh, go on.
What?
Oh, I thought you were saying something. No. But anyway, yeah, back to the shape and size of it. You just ignore it. It's there like any console. Yeah, it's got a different look, but you just ignore it's there. And the size of it, like I said, everyone's wanting a lot more power. And when you put it into a small system, don't you worry, we've got you covered. I've got mine poured. When you put a lot of power into a system, you need cooling, you need space. So I like that they've actually gone overboard with it and separated all the components, because I don't know if you've seen the breakdown of it. They've got cooling systems everywhere, heat sinks, and they've actually got liquid metal for the processor, which I really
I was surprised at that. I mean, to be fair, I've been out of like the components side of things for the most part, but when I heard there was liquid metal, I was like, "Whoa, is that going to be risky?" But I remember Johnny, you telling me that they've made sure that in terms of it, it's locked down to a great
really
degree.
Tight.
So
yeah, the guy that would dismantle it, he was worried about taking it apart, but once he took it apart, he realised when he took it apart, like the edges of the cooling thing where the liquid metal is, it's all like a solid kind of thin brush. So even if it did try to leak out, it'd have trouble leaking because if you get liquid metal going over the motherboard or anything like that, your PlayStation's going to be gone. So it's done a really good job.
Lobulate, won't it, and just catch on the brush.
Yeah, exactly.
What is it, mercury? Do you know?
I'm not too sure about the material with it at all, but everyone will run and and stuff. But I think we'll see it long run, won't we? If there's any issues, but so far, yeah, I've give it a quick Google, but I don't know what it is. I didn't even know it was liquid metal until he took it apart, and then he mentioned it, and I'm like, oh, right then.
That's pretty cool. You'd expect like oil or water, wouldn't you? But
yeah.
Jesus. This is why I love the Japanese. They're just psychos.
Exactly. But yeah, overall, I think it's a good console. No issues so far. But with every generation, you're going to get issues. You're selling millions of them. You can't test on a million scale until the launch. But they're going to patch it up. I mean, Xbox has got their issues. The PlayStation 4 had issues on launch. They just get patched up. It's just a time thing. For people that are worried about it, just give it 6 or 8 months. If you're not that desperate to get one, then just hold off. Which comes down to another matter with being able to get one, because it's turning into the Nintendo Switch, which is still hard to get. And that's been out 3-4 years.
Yeah, I was going to say, with ever since the global pandemic, we've seen game products rise either to a small degree or a large degree, because essentially when the UK here, when we were in lockdown, those usual chains that we would go to buy these sorts of goods, whether they were new or whether it was from a reseller, those were obviously kind of cut off from us. So people were relying on delivery services and internet services, and naturally, prices shot up. One of the things I got was, I've got a Silent Hill collection for the PS2. I think I spent like 20 quid, I think, on eBay for it a couple of years ago. And I went to check back it during just before the lockdown, and it's gone up to like £110. I was like, Jesus, like I don't know whether that's just because Silent Hill has just started to just increase because there are no re-releases, there's no remasters. And I guess these kind of things will just shoot up more. But certainly the Switch went up in price, and seeing some of the prices for the PS5 and for the Xbox Series X, it's just it starts to get comedic after a while, but then you realize it's completely serious, and then that's when you start, the kind of shudder kind of kicks in. It's crazy.
It's becoming a serious issue. But quickly go back to Silent Hill. There's been a leaker from I think I can't remember exact terms, but he leaked something a while back, and it was true and everything. And apparently he's announced that Konami are working on a new Silent Hill game. They are working on a Metal Gear Solid remake as well. So hold on to your Silent Hill, because if they announce it, prices for the old stuff could go up even further.
Could do as well. But to be fair, I got the Silent Hill HD collection for the PS3, and I remember telling you guys, I was like, as soon as I saw I think it was in the second one, as soon as you see the Silent Hill sign, and I saw that it was in Comic Sans text, I shut it off and I just went back and got a refund.
Oh, I don't blame you.
I was like, no. So that's what convinced me to get the collection in the first place for PS2, because I was like, I got so insulted by it, and in the end, it's actually worked out better, and I've got pristine copies. So which I play. Like, these games aren't just for show; they're for playing. That's what they should be.
So have you thought about any consoles that you want, Theo? I don't know if you've thought about getting the Xbox Series X or the PlayStation or.
Yeah. Well, the first thing on my list is to upgrade this shitbox.
It needs it. I'm going to look at it on Friday when I go around. I don't even think I'm going to recognise some parts in it.
From 1992, I think, the processor.
I think processor's about 6 generations out in it or something like that.
That's first part. Xbox One will keep me going for other stuff for now. Maybe move to Sony, because I've always loved Sony. Like, especially with phones, I've always had a Sony. I've moved to Samsung, and it is a bag of shit. I hate phone. So I'm going to move back to Sony the next jump I get. I might move to Sony PlayStation. Yeah, I'm going to say, because you haven't witnessed a lot of these exclusives for PlayStation, like Last of Us, God of War, Uncharted. Those to Tsushima, I want to play that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you'll love that, because you're a big fan of what is it? What's his name?
Last Samurai. Yeah.
That Last Samurai. There it is.
Favorite film. It'll always be my favorite film.
I knew that's why you'd want Ghost of Tsushima.
Not because I love Tom Cruise, although I do love Tom Cruise. Not his Scientology shit, but I just love him as an actor. But yeah, that film is just brilliant. It just gets me.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think you'll enjoy. What about exclusives?
Yeah.
There's one other one as well. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice.
Oh,
if you want to challenge, because that's like Souls level hard from what I've heard. I just see I could just see Troy just being like,
I want to play it, but I don't. It looks amazing and the fast combat and stuff like that, but I've seen people getting stressed out, and some people say it's harder than Dark Souls. So I've only just started playing Dark Souls, and I'm struggling.
I don't know how to play Dark Souls.
I've never.
Somebody,
I wasn't.
No, go on. All right.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I never really played Dark Souls. I got Demon Souls because I was, I thought this is a perfect opportunity. It's a new console generation. It's a remaster. I saw the trailers, but the music, the graphics, the gameplay. I was like, it looks simple yet sleek, and I'm loving it, even though I've probably died about 80 times already.
I was going to say, I think the first day he started playing it, he messaged me saying, "What is this? I'm getting my ass kicked." And I'm like, "Yeah, you have no idea what kind of game you are stepping into." It's not an action adventure game, I can tell you that.
You know how many times I've died on Ori?
Oh, does it tell you?
552.
Really?
Let me hang on a second. I'm 48.
You have the patience.
Complete.
Oh my dear. I have no idea. I didn't think you died that many times.
It is one of those. You'll realize.
Yeah. Dark Souls. I don't even know if I've died that many times with Dark Souls so far. Maybe you have, Raz. You've had a few deaths.
It does. Well, yeah, for me, it's about around the 70-80 range, but it doesn't really show you the figure. It just lets me know I played 12 hours. So
that's one thing I think they need, like Ori. I think these kind of games need death counters, and people can compare them as stats. It's like, oh, you completed Dark Souls. How many deaths did you get? And that'll be the big thing.
Yeah, I think they may have had it in Super Meat Boy. That really hard platformer. It was like you had to get from A to B with all of these swords and things. I think I might be wrong. Apologies if I am. but yeah, I think that might have been. I've also found the metals used in the PS5.
What we got?
So we've got gallium and we've got indium. Both of them. So indium is apparently the softest metal. It resembles tin in appearance, which makes sense. It says it's a soft silvery metal at standard temperature and pressure. So it looks like they've gone for components that are, they are naturally there to be soft in room temperatures. So which makes sense because when you open it up, it's liquid metal.
Exactly. Theo should know most about this. We've been an engineer and all, so.
Well, yeah, I know a bit about metallurgy, but it's mostly about stainless steels, to be honest.
All right. You blagged your way into that job anyway, I think. The way you're blagging through that uni work right now.
Blagged my way through life. I don't know how I'm in the job that
I don't know how we're in this position right now, to be honest, any of us. But yeah, when it comes to games, I've had a good selection of games, to be honest, on PlayStation 5. I've had nothing like, I ain't got stuck for games. I mean, to be honest, I didn't have to buy Sackboy because the amount of games they give you on the PlayStation Plus collection, I've been playing those. And then there's the Astro's Playroom, which we'll talk about when we talk about the controller in a short while, because that's a big part. But that's one of the best games out for the PlayStation 5. And it's free.
It's free.
Yeah. I think it was meant to be like a tech demo, but it's like, it's an amazing platform game, even though it's only like 4 hours, but it's more if you do everything. But it's really.
Yeah, I remember playing I think it was Astro Space Mission, the VR game. And I was really impressed by that. For me, with VR, and then saying, oh, this is a 3D platformer, I was naturally concerned because sometimes there have been ways that people have adapted certain things. And with VR, it's a whole different mind game. I mean, it's had its own problems. Like, for example, the fluency and movement, and also, feeling quite motion sickness after a while. But yeah, for the previous Astro game, that was it was great. You could just sit down. It allowed you to just kind of like move kind of around your seat and behind your sofa, and it was fantastic. Again, it was the best game I thought for VR because it understood that this was an experience to be done sat down, and it allowed you to be immersive. And it's I'd say those games, they kind of play on those kind of classic platforming games like Mario and Sonic. Just like you just travel through, collect, and go from there. But yeah, no, we'll talk about that in a little while, of course.
Yeah. But other than that, we've got Sackboy, like we said. You've got Dark Souls, there's Spider-Man, Miles Morales. I think I said it right this time.
You did.
Because I don't know much. I don't know much. You were waiting for it. I was going to say there's a new Spider-Man to start with, and I thought I'm going to go for it. Hey, I don't really know the universe. I don't know the characters. I'm not really a superhero kind of guy, but I've got the first Spider-Man on PlayStation 4. But yeah, that's doing really good. Did you say it's in charts? Did you at the moment, Ryan?
Yeah. So apparently for November it reached number 4 in
Really?
the UK charts.
What were number 1?
Number 1 was Cold War. That went to number 1.
No surprise.
That makes sense though.
It's just Call of Duty. No matter if it's good, bad, or whatever like that, it still gets to number 1 every year.
Yeah, but I mean, like Demon Souls got to I think number 16, and Sackboy wasn't even on there from what I could see. It's just been, I guess it's been one that's kind of dominant by the franchises. But I guess that's
weird,
always been the
normally
way.
a launch title gets quite high, and Demon Souls comes with a lot of the PlayStation packages anyway. So I don't. I'd actually, they must be counting as a sale, but I'd imagine I thought they were going to be really high. That's what everyone were on about.
Yeah, I think there's something about Miles Morales which is a bit more appealing, although it's a shorter game from what I understand. It's just that kind of experience.
More aesthetically pleasing, it's more ergonomic, you know.
Yeah, it looked gorgeous from what I saw. I think for me, as a launch game, I wanted something that had a bit of longevity, and understanding Demon Souls was, you know, with peak players being at a 30-hour, 40-hour, that for me was perfect because I was getting my money's worth, which I guess is the next point to talk about, which is the price. You know, the retail value of £70. I mean, what are your guys' thoughts on it?
It's too much.
Glad you agree.
How much is it?
£70 is Demon Souls.
£3 is my maximum for a game.
Play it cheap. Game Pass, like 12, 13 quid or whatever it is. He's got it started.
He's looking for the yellow sales tickets at the the shops.
£40 is my limit. It is honestly my limit because it's just ridiculous to think that a game would cost more than what 1/3 of your console.
Yeah, it's press. I've seen a few different points of view from like Jim Sterling and other people on YouTube and reviewers, and even developers from podcasts that I've listened to talk about it, and they've literally said like it shouldn't cost any more, but because it's a new generation, this is where they can try and push the market a bit higher because the production doesn't get higher, and at the end of the day, it's the publishers and the companies that are increasing the costs, making let's make bigger worlds, let's make more things, let's increase the price, blah 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 blah. But they still make a profit and they spend a load on marketing and things like that. But they always make a profit, and I think it's just that push to try and see what you'll pay. I mean, because at the end of the day, if people don't pay £70, they're not going to sell them at £70. It's just the way it goes. You can't sell something that nobody buys. So it either goes down if no one buys it, or it stays if people buy it.
There's always going to be somebody that pays that price because they're either, stupid or psycho. But £40, I think, is the max that you should pay for a game, no matter what it is. Although I think the only way I pay £40 is if it were a new game coming out and it had that much hype, like Cyberpunk. I'll pay £40 for that, but nothing else.
Yeah.
Until something else comes out that's got that much hype and it looks that good.
Yeah, exactly.
It's ridiculous otherwise.
Another point with it as well is that, which Jim made on his YouTube, is that the games we're getting, they're not exactly polished. So many games are getting released that aren't finished, and we're having to wait for patches to fix things. But then they already are charging us like 70, 80, 90 pound, £100 for games because they're giving you more stuff with the game if you pay for a better edition, like the deluxe edition, the gold edition, the ultimate edition. And it's like, well, you're not paying for a complete product anyway. When you spend 70 quid, you've got to spend 100 to get the full package. And it's just...
Oh, sorry
No,
to
carry on.
interrupt you.
No, go on. Sorry.
The one exception I will make is Miles Morales, because that was at a decent price point. The £70 price point for that did include the exclusive remaster of the original reboot of Spider-Man, which for me, I think that's appealing because essentially you're getting two games. You're getting a remastered full experience, and you're getting a brand new, even though it's like a 12-hour experience, it's still brand new. And I thought that was a fair trade in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, they have got the normal version out, which you can get Miles Morales for £52 on PlayStation 5. Fair play. Cold War, we bought Cold War the other day, £65. But if you got it on PS4, if you got it on PS4 or the Xbox One, it was 55. They increased the price by £10 just because it's next gen. And that's where it gets even more like tricky, because you can't just charge £10 extra because it's on a next gen console. I mean, on PC, you won't pay more than £50, £55 for it, and you can play it whatever frames your PC can handle, ultra graphics. And it just seems like a bit of a gimmick they're trying to sell, because it's like, okay, you can play the games better on a PlayStation 5 and an Xbox Series X, but you can on PC. It's your hardware that's limiting it. Just because we can play it with enhanced things, they're not exactly having to make new textures and visuals for it, because, like I said, we've already got them on PC. They're just upping that limit and extending the frames. It's a tricky subject, but I'm happy with the £50 to £55. I think I paid £52 for Last of Us Part 2. I feel prices have increased due to inflation and everything. And then I know a lot of people link it to the movie industry. I mean, movie budgets are constantly going up. They spend hundreds of millions on like Endgame and things like that. And I know cinema tickets have increased, but they haven't increased massively. I can go still watch a new film for like £10, £11, depending on the cinema. And when it comes out on DVD, you can still buy it on DVD for like £12, £15. You're not paying £30. And then a lot of people are valuing the time like price per hour. Like, I should be getting like $1 or £1 per hour, like that. And then developers using that against us now by saying, oh, look, I know it's a grindy game like Destiny 2 where you do the same thing over and over, but you're getting 60, 70 hours out of that. So we're entitled to 60, £70. And I think it's just a lot more look, because I think money's being talked about too much in the game industry, where it doesn't get talked about much in the movie industry. The only time you hear about money in the movie industry is like Joker, things that like surpass the development budget for it and that go over $1 billion. I think it earned over $1 billion, didn't it? Something like that. That's the only time in the movie industry. The game industry has always talked about money, and I think that's put the pressure on, and that's why the price increases come from.
Yeah, I think it's also, I think, a good point, because it's a case of it's like Troy was saying, it was a case of people will always buy something. I mean, you only have to look at the reseller market for the PS5 itself. I mean, we've seen consoles that are sold for anywhere between 650 to just shy of £1,000. And in the end of the day, if there's a hot commodity, it's going to sell, and people may be willing to spend more money. But at the same time, it's not a really fair analogy on the consumers as a whole. Just because one person buys something at a high price point doesn't necessarily mean that everyone's going to. And the one thing that I also never understood with physical games is that for me, I feel like the industry is trying to push more into this digital market, kind of go into kind of like the iTunes, the Netflix, going into what Steam kind of have. But the digital games, usually are more expensive. And I feel like companies are just saying, oh, it's the convenience. But there are production costs with making disc-based games. My thought was, why are the disc games usually cheaper to a small extent, but the digital editions are still like same price or sometimes a little bit higher? You're not really, it just doesn't make sense.
It's because they can. That's basically it.
The convenience, and they think that they're getting an easy fix, and it's sort of a mind trick, because they're getting a digital download which is less than a physical product. But the idea of getting it here and now within seconds means that they'll pay more for it rather than get it delivered.
Yeah, I'm going to say, I think Last of Us Part 2 were £3 more digitally. £3 more digitally. And the thing is, PlayStation and the devs are entitled to more money and everything like that, because I think when you buy a game physically anyway, the devs don't only get a few pounds from it, if that. But PlayStation gets a bigger cut from that, or Microsoft does if you buy from the store, because they're not having to pay like retail for it. They're not having to pay for packaging, distribution, anything like that. So they're making more money. That's why in my opinion, why they're pushing digital a lot more and they're keeping the prices the same, because they're pocketing a lot more money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's probably the whole physical digital is maybe something we should look into.
Oh, we can have a whole season about physical and digital and third party and like CX selling on and things like that. But that's where it comes on to the next point actually. CEX and GameStop and Scalpers, because as we know, it's difficult to get an Xbox Series X, a PlayStation 5, because you've got scalpers that are using bots and different techniques to basically outstock everywhere on a website before you even get a chance to load up the page.
Am I a scalper?
You're a scalper. We can class you as a scalper. But yeah, it's ridiculous for them. I mean, that UK-based scalping thing claimed they had over 3,500 PlayStation 5s. And we know it's not illegal to scalp, but it's morally frowned upon. But then you've got the biggest issue for me is that you've got companies like CEX encouraging it, because it's retail for a PlayStation 5 disc is $450. CEX will buy it off you for $650. So CEX will give you £200, £250. No, it's £200 in it. Sorry. Yeah, CEX will give you £200 if you sell their console, and then they will exactly. Then they sell it for £812. I think it is at the moment. It's
checking, yeah.
These fucking psychopaths will pay that because they're desperate for this stuff.
Exactly, and there's a lot more things you could spend £1,000 on than a PlayStation 5 and pay double its price. But when you've got companies encouraging it, it's like people are going to try and get as many PlayStations as they can, because they don't have to sell it to people. They can just walk down to CX. That time when I were in CX, when Switch came out, a guy walked in with 3 Amazon Prime bags with Switches, making profit, selling them. And it's like, this is ridiculous. Capitalizing on demand. It's stupid.
Yeah, I think... sorry, you go.
I'm just saying it's fucked up.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Change the market.
Well, this is it. I think it's the one thing we've got to take into consideration is that gaming has become exponentially more popular. More and more people. Also, you're thinking about the new generation of children who are growing up with games from either a mobile sense or from a console sense. I think for us, we're in this kind of we when we were youngsters, we had the 4th gen. We had the Mega Drive, the Super Nintendo. The wars between them. I think that's one of the catalysts of why we became intrigued with games, because it was always
it was branding. It was branding, just like people are with Nike and Adidas. It's just same with a console.
It was like a beautiful war in a way, because it was always like top trumps. It was like, oh yeah, mine's got more. What was it?
What was that quote?
It was all about the bits.
What was that quote that Sega did? Where it Sega do what Nintendo.
That's Genesis does. Great,
but back then it wasn't as barbaric. It were a bit of fun, a bit of banter, but now it's gone to another level.
That's the high score, wasn't it?
Yeah, they put it on that High Score series on Netflix, which is really good. If you haven't watched it, by the way, people, check it out. It's a really good documentary.
Yeah, I think. Sorry, I'm going off track. In terms of the demand, it's obviously there, and I think also the fact is we're dealing with a launch in very unique circumstances.
That's the makeshift tumbler there, a honey jar.
Beauty. To be fair, I remember going to a friend's party, and I think he had like a what was it? He had like a curry jar, like the jars you stick curry in. You just use one of them as a drink, just a little bit of rum and coke or whatever. Does the job.
Scalpers have bought all tumblers; you can't afford them.
I think we're dealing with unique circumstances. The fact is that people for the most part could only click and collect. most people had to rely online to buy their consoles, and I think it's kind of it's a very moral middle ground, because it's like you say, there's nothing illegal about scalping, and I think certainly if someone has kind of bought maybe a couple of consoles, maybe to earn a bit of extra money, or if they're a small business trying to make quite a bit of money in quite difficult time to be in like an independent shop or a retailer, then I can understand the reason to stock up. However, you then like you say about the 3,500 consoles by that one group, it's one of these things where I think people usually have the stigma where they say like, oh, sucks to be Timmy, he doesn't have his Xbox Series X or his PlayStation 5, and I think that's a bit of a naive approach. The fact is, it's an asset. I get it. It's a hot commodity. But in the end of the day, games consoles are to be played. You are meant to enjoy games. And I think that some of these people like holding stock and knowingly using ways to try and take as much as possible to then increase the value exponentially, I think that's a little bit wrong in that sense. In from a moral standpoint, from a business standpoint, it makes perfect sense. You've got a hot commodity, you are selling it, it's high in demand, you're going to probably sell it at a higher price. But like I say, morally, I don't know. It is a big debate.
Morally wrong, definitely. But
yeah,
does doing what they do, pushing the price of the console up, push the share price up? Is that what? I don't know.
Well, for companies, it don't matter to companies, because at the end of the day, Sony are selling consoles because they're getting bought. But the fact is, it's bad times. People are out of jobs. People want money, and people are struggling, and people are on board and they want to play consoles, but they haven't got much money and everything. Like I said, and it's just taking it away from them.
Yeah,
it's unfair, really, for something where they say for the players and play has no limits. The limit is the supply. But from what I understand, Sony do have stock. It's just they only have like a limited supply right now to sell, and I guess it's like with Microsoft as well. Just because they've sold their first batch doesn't mean they aren't making more consoles. It's just one of these things where they have to produce the things and then distribute them. So it's one of these things.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go on. They only have finite resources. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and that especially in current climate as well. You're talking about furloughs and layoffs and having to change working environments so that they are COVID secure. At least for us in the UK, that's what they're coining it as. But you're taking you're working within restrictions in order to. I know that most consoles are made on production lines very much mechanically, but at the end of the day they still need to be operated by people, and they the checks need to be made. Also, the consoles need to be within a certain threshold level. I mean, that's the mistake Microsoft made with the Xbox 360, because their thresholds were the failing consoles were too high, which led to the infamous red ring of death. So, and it's one of these things where you've got to keep that high percentage of working consoles. So yeah, it's I think it's one of these things where I think, if I'm honest, like the launch games are good, but the range, it's not as it's not as appealing as I would have expected, especially after coming off as a PlayStation 4 owner. The amount of games that were the immense hits that were coming out. I mean, I've still got Final Fantasy VII Remake and Ghost of Tsushima like behind me. They're next on my list. I've got like a big list. It's never ending. First world problems of a gamer.
Yeah.
But for me, I like maybe it's just because it is that generation is reaching that kind of point. But I mean, even though I do have a PS5, I would say you will still. There are games coming out for the PS4 as well, and I think for most of us, buying a console now is an investment in the future, and we are ready for Cyberpunk, which is coming out next week. We've got God of War Ragnarok, which is due to come out at some point soon. And later down the line, we have things like Final Fantasy 16. They're coming. It's just, I think for us, we've invested now because we've taken an opportunity. We're like, do you know what? We're going to just jump in, take that chance.
Well, I think you came up with numbers a few weeks ago, and you said how many launch games are coming on each console. You had the amount of launch games on PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, PlayStation, and it's gone down. It's gone down with the amount, but obviously now we've got the backwards compatibility. And like I said, I'm not bored, and I've been playing the PS4 games on the Plus collection. I mean, I've always wanted to play Detroit. Well. Yeah, I've always wanted to play Detroit Become Human. I don't know why, because I completed it the other day. You know that I'll give it 10 out of 10. Spoiler for a review that comes out about it, but it's amazing. One of the best games I've played, and I'm battling it through Until Dawn at the moment. And I've got a few more on the list. I've got Bloodborne. I don't know. There's some more in it, but yeah, I've got enough games to keep me going. I didn't even have to buy Sackboy or Call of Duty. I've got enough PlayStation content to satisfy me, but I know a lot of people have probably played those games and they're wanting new games. But just wait. I mean, start of a console. When people say to me, I've had it a few times already, like, should I get a PlayStation 5 now or later? And I'm like, well, at the end of the day, it don't make a difference. You're going to get one. I mean, obviously, you've got to fight a bit harder now, but if you're not desperate for one, don't get one till later or until there's some more games out. But it doesn't change if you buy it now or later. At the end of the day, you can still play your PS4 games apart from about 10 or 12, something like that.
Yeah, it's only a small number. And PT.
And Silent Hill PT. Oh, we're at the end of that legacy. Even though I thought it was good, but I didn't think it was like amazing. I just think it's got a big name for itself with all the Konami stuff. And then when they try and take something away, if a company tries to take something away from people, it becomes like ultra rare. It's like a rare shiny Pokemon or something like that. Everybody wants it. Exactly. It could have been, Flappy Bird. Everyone was buzzing about. Everyone was selling iPhones, weren't they, for like £1,000? I forgot about that. It wasn't even a good game. It was addictive. While you're on toilet, that was it.
Whole sense of.
It was brilliant, but yeah, the games are coming. The games are coming, but other than that, I think the console. I think it's a good launch considering the circumstances. Obviously, if the stores were open, you could buy them in store. I think it'd be a lot easier. But game-wise, like I said, I'm happy. I've got enough to fill my boots. I haven't been on PC either because I've just been stuck on PlayStation. And another part of the PlayStation. Oh, no, go on, you want to say?
I was going to say, like, the one game out of that PS Plus collection, I was going to say it's Persona 5. You've got to check it out at some point.
It's downloaded. It's downloaded.
Yes.
I keep hovering over it. And when I hover over it, it starts the music. I'm like, should I? Nah, I ain't got. I ain't got 100 spare hours yet. I'll give it a few days.
Yeah, I know my Persona 5 Royal review was incredibly long. That would be an understatement. It's like a 20-minute read. By the way, thanks to everybody who did read it.
I read it over the space of 2 days, I think.
I could have sold it as a novel.
I had to bookmark it online.
14,000 words long.
Oh, wow.
Hey, it's a good review. It's a good review, though.
I think for me, that version, it's just because there's so many components in it. And I know it's like a long game. It's like 90 to 100 hours. So like for me, I did like a sprint run with Royal during lockdown because I had lots of time. And I think I did like 90 hours in 3 weeks. I spent no time at all. I was just glued to the TV.
Yeah.
Is what it is. But yeah, I do recommend that. I'm a big fan of the Persona series, and that's the one title that I recommend you get your teeth sunk into. But you've got to dedicate that. You know, it's quite a long game. It's just so gorgeous. I'll say that.
Kill my kids, finish my girlfriend, quit my job.
That's pretty much what we've got to do to get through all the games we've got lined up. You got Cyberpunk coming out as well, and that's been played for like 150 hours without completion by a developer or something. So
we're going to get sucked into that game. I can feel it.
And you need to not have a life for this, but unfortunately we do. But on one of the last notes, I do want to talk about one of the biggest features of PlayStation 5, which I think is better than the console, and that is the controller itself.
It's so gorgeous.
I am really impressed. The amount of features on it, we've got loads of stuff to talk about with it, to be honest, haven't we? But there's one thing I want to talk about.
Instead of your face, because I want to see it.
Yeah, we'll just replace it with that. Like, you got
it's beautiful.
The build quality is amazing.
It's lovely to hold.
It's really nice. It feels bulky as well. I like a good bulky controller.
One thing I noticed, Is that the buttons? They kind of look like the PSP. Like it's like that hard plastic, but it's just translucent. They're really, really not, and they're just lovely to touch. But sorry, John. Obviously, you've got a head hold on the situation. I'll leave it to you.
All I can say is that I've fallen in love. The build quality for a start is amazing. Because one of my favorite controllers is this Nintendo Switch Pro controller. I don't know if any of you two have experienced it, but
No.
I've not personally.
It takes a lot from the Xbox 360 controller, but it's a really solid build, and it's got big buttons, and it feels really nice. But this has also got that build quality, but it's the features. And the thing about Sony is they've always pushed new features on controllers, which a lot of people call a gimmick, but because they've been implemented for so long, is it still called just a gimmick? If it's
innovation, that's what it is.
Exactly. They've been innovating it since PlayStation 3, and it's like, all right, it's not a gimmick if it stays there and it's used in a lot of games. I mean, the PlayStation 3, you had the motion sensor, which we've still got. PlayStation 4, they had the motion, then they had the touchpad, which we've still got. And now we've got all that, and now we've got haptic feedback, where you've got vibration all the way around the controller. And you've also got pressure triggers, which I think is amazing.
That's their ethos, isn't it? Innovation.
Exactly. And I've got to say, the haptic feedback is a lot better than DualShock or whatever the Xbox call theirs, because you've normally just got the two big motors. The loud, that's one thing I always notice with DualShock and everything, is the loud, but it's just always in the handles. On this, there's a demo on that Astro's Playroom where loads of little robots jump in your controller, and you move your controller and you can just feel all the little vibrations. It feels like you've actually got people in there checking them about.
It's so cool. I think as well, it's it's I when I was playing Demon Souls, when when I put magic on my sword, I can feel like this, obviously, because the sound, you can hear a distinct sound, and the sound is like mimicked in the vibration, and it's like a light pulsation, and it feels so nice. It's like I feel like, because it just glows like a blue white, and even though the controller doesn't glow that color, it's like I can feel it. It like subconsciously, I'm like, oh, it's just
exactly. I was going to come on to that. Subconsciously, that's what all these features do. Like with the Astro's Playroom, when there's that fan blowing all sand towards you, and you can feel it. It's like you can feel the bits of sand getting blown towards you. You can feel that wrath of the wind. And
really?
Yeah, but the thing is, it's not a feature that distracts you. Like if you're walking on metal or ice or sand on the Astro's Playroom, there's a difference in the vibration. But it's not one of those where you just look at it and think, wait a second, something's weird. You just take it in subconsciously. It's like, okay, I feel more immersed.
When I think about haptic feedback, I think about fully suited up with the haptics, the actual, pads.
Oh, this is the next best thing.
First person shooters, in a big arena that's, blacked out. That's what I think about when I think about haptic feedback. But
yeah,
I never think about it as just one controller, isolated to that little unit.
Exactly.
Well,
reviews came out about it, and they said, I can't explain it. You need to feel it, and I understand it, because it's hard to explain it without feeling what it is. It's incredible, and it's so quiet. It's like I said, it's really quiet. But then you've also got the triggers, which are pressured depending on the game and what's happening. And yet again, the Astro's Playroom, because I don't know about you, when I'm playing games. So let's take an example on Astro's Playroom. At one point, you're a spring, and you've got to pull your L2 trigger, I think it is, to squish the spring down. Even on games in the past on the PS1, when you're doing something, like you want to jump hard or you need to press something hard, you instinctively do it anyway on your controller. You're like, I need to jump hard, I'll press that button. But now it's like, because you can feel that spring, it's like, I don't know, you actually feel the spring going down, and you can feel it clicking. And I've seen the mechanics inside. It's got like a few little... Exactly. You can feel it clicking. You can feel every spring clicking in, and you just feel like you're pushing against it.
Wow.
But then...
That's brilliant.
Exactly. And on shooters, they've got it. A lot of shooters have got it. It's on the right trigger. You pull it down a bit, and then it stops. And that's meant to be the bit on the trigger where you're just going to give it that bit of a pull, and you shoot the bullet. And that is glorious, especially like if you're on a sniper or anything like that on Call of Duty. And you pull it down, you wait till you get to that trigger. Then when you take your shot, you just pop them, and you've got a nice little feedback. And it's all subconscious. It's there, and you think, oh, that's pretty cool, but you're not just like, so much wrong with the controller. You're just like, I felt that shot. I felt that.
Yeah. Japanese.
Exactly. I don't know if you've seen the unboxing, all the stripping of this, but I don't know how they designed this. There's parts everywhere. But then I thought
I haven't seen that.
it might break easy. But then if you look on YouTube, as you always see, people are throwing it from rooftops and things like that, and it's
To do it, kill test, isn't it?
exactly durability test, running over it with like a car or something. They ain't gone that far because it'll break, but they have dropped it from heights multiple times, and it's pretty solid. But like I said, all these features I think add to it. And I know Xbox have not changed anything, but they've also got the added feature where you can get an Xbox 360 controller, I think, and you can still play the new Xbox games. It's a lot more accessible. Obviously, if you want to get more players on your PlayStation 5, you're gonna have to buy another controller, but I think it's worth it at the end of the day for the features. And for people wondering, you can turn the triggers off and the haptic feedback if you don't like the vibration. I know for competitive shooting on Call of Duty, you might not want the pressure points. You can turn them off so you can still fire as quick as you can without them. So if you don't like a feature, turn it off.
I think the best way I could describe it is like it's a marriage of sound and control. Like it's something about like the haptic feedback. It's like I say, it's that perfect. It's the way to describe it. Like I say, it's that perfect marriage where it is just the sound and the vibrations working together to mimic that kind of sensory experience that kind of crosses over more than one. It's not just something you feel, it's something that you can it just feels a bit more immersive in that sense. That's the only thing I'll say on that.
Exactly. And you've also got the built-in speaker on it, which does sound effects and stuff, but like you said, you get used to them and you can hear it. And it's also got a built-in microphone with a mute button finally, but it's got a built-in microphone. I think it's got two microphones actually. I think it's got one that blocks out background noise, and then it's got your main microphone that picks up your voice. So you can, everyone's chatting on games already. I mean, if you go in Call of Duty lobbies, you can already tell they're pretty pleasant in a Call of Duty lobby, but with everybody having a mic. I can't go into anything that people have said, but you can imagine it. But it's got all the features you need to get going, and I just think it's the best part of the console, to be honest.
I agree.
You can always upgrade a console with like extra parts and more power, but when it comes to creating a new controller, the only downside is I wish you could use it on PC games, and I wish they'd like work towards it, but they're not gonna. Yeah. But I'm excited for Gran Turismo 7, because they've already announced that with the different cars and stuff, you're gonna feel the different brake tensions, and same with acceleration, and with a haptic feedback. Because I've played with a steering wheel before, and even with a steering wheel with no vibration, you can feel when your rear driver wheel is slipping. But apparently, you're gonna be able to feel it on the haptic feedback, and you'll just know if a wheel's slipping or gone off the track slightly on a corner.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
It's really impressive. I think Nintendo and Sony are pushing the way with controllers. I really do.
Oh, yeah. The Japanese will rule the planet.
They will. One day they will.
They've had some great ideas, some great innovations.
Logical.
Brilliant. I think it's a good console. It's struggling for a console launch, but it's COVID at the end of the day and a lot of bad things. But good console, brilliant controller, okay launch games.
It was the wrong time, really, wasn't it?
Exactly. I do think both consoles should have held off, but
yeah, I do.
I'm sure they had. You got the shareholders and things like that to please, and you already had developers working on games for just the play. Honestly, I don't know if the Xbox Series X have got any exclusive games. I don't think they do yet. I think they had Halo in.
Johnny, I'm going to Sony.
I'm not trying to convert you. As a disclaimer, right? We haven't been paid by Sony. We do like Xbox. We've got the Game Pass on the PC. We will be playing Halo Infinite when it eventually comes out. But,
I think as well, the one thing I would say is obviously we do this as, we do this as our passions, and I think for us it's something that we are a DIY site, and everything that we do is made from the ground up. We as we say, we are a grassroots site, and I think for us it's something where we appreciated PlayStation for a number of years, but I would say that the amount of innovations from Xbox, I mean, they've done many things that have become commonplace. You look at the original Xbox; they had a hard drive installed. Xbox 360 was the first to include a digital store, technically. on that basis. And then you look at the Xbox One, where they were trying to make it like an all-inclusive console. In that aspect. So, and with the Xbox Series X, like seeing the resume times for games is gorgeous.
It's
like
insane.
just 3 to 5 second load times is delicious. But I think the one main strength why, well, not strength, but the main reason why I've gone to Sony on this occasion isn't because I've been for the past 4 or 5 generations. It's because
Not
of the
biased.
games in the end of the day. No, not biased at all.
Exactly. It's the games.
Yeah. And I've got an Xbox One, and I play titles on there every now and then. But for me, it's something where
Takes about
PlayStation.
the load.
Yeah, exactly.
Any game.
So, yeah, all of them. God, so many.
But yeah, if I had £450 splashed out on an Xbox Series X, I'd get one. But the thing is, with a new Xbox model on the Game Pass, you don't need the new console. I mean, I've got Game Pass on the PC, so me and Theo are already playing all the Xbox titles that are available. And I guess the Xbox is just an easier way to get it, a more mobile version. You can just get one.
That's been Xbox's downfall, because that has prevented me from upgrading my console.
Exactly, but I don't think they're about that. I think they're just about the subscriptions. So I don't think they're bothered if you get it on the Xbox, the PC, your phone. I mean, there's talks that they bring out the dongle next year for the TV, for the streaming service. It's purely subscription. They're going to take the net.
The word dongle puts me off anything.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not getting that dongle.
I think a fair analogy would be that, like, when it was like the Xbox 360 and Xbox One, I think they were trying to be like the iTunes of gaming, like the digital side, and now they're trying to become the Netflix of gaming, which is offer all of these titles at a cost, at an affordable cost. So, but yeah, but yeah, I think that's in the end, yeah. I mean, I've got nothing but good things to say about the PlayStation. I would say those who are tentative about purchasing one, do not feed into the scalpers and spend more.
No, don't, definitely.
Like, for us, we've been very fortunate and we've been able to acquire these consoles very luckily. And trust me, we are humbled and appreciate these endeavors, like, because everything could have gone wrong with everything that's transpired, even this year. Like, it's the underlying statement of the year. But I think the console is worth its retail price. If you're that desperate, then I would say maybe go over and yeah.
Ryan's footage video feed has gone off.
Sorry, I think I'm gonna have to call it on this side, unfortunately.
No worries.
But yeah, no, I'd agree on that aspect.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, PlayStation have got their points to having the console. Xbox have got their points to having a console. They're going both separate ways, and I think it's gonna be really interesting to follow how both of them go. I'm interested in the Game Pass. I'm interested in the PlayStation exclusives. It's nice to see how it comes to it. And Sony have also said the head. I can't remember the name of the head of Sony. I only know Phil Spencer from Xbox, but anyway, Sony have announced that they've got an answer to Game Pass, which I thought was the Plus collection, but obviously they've got something bigger in the pipeline. But overall, I think it's a good console. I'm happy with it. I'm interested to see what's going to come out. And like I said, I just love the controller.
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
But other than that, I don't think there's much more to talk about it. I mean, obviously got the load times, things like that. So is Xbox. It's to be expected. Troy's back now, sorry.
Is the camera gone, Ryan?
Oh, he's having issues, isn't he?
I'm sorry, yeah, my it's it's story of my life.
This is why we can't afford a Series X to review, because we can't even afford webcams and microphones and stuff.
Or decent internet.
Yeah, even that.
But it's in the works.
Yeah, exactly. But overall, anything more to add, Ryan, about the PlayStation 5?
No, I mean, in terms of it, I think it's a great console. I definitely think that getting the disc version was the best, especially if you have physical, because like I say, there isn't really any incentive for changing physical to digital. So it's makes much more sense. I mean, those who wanted a digital console and have bought all their games digitally, then you're having a laugh, because even the reseller market is still selling them at 360. They haven't increased in price. The Xbox Series S hasn't increased in price at all. It's just the high end. It's the disc version of the PS5 and the Series X, which has kind of increased in value. And it's strange because you wouldn't think that you wouldn't spend 300 and something pounds extra on a disc drive. I thought 90. I was like, oh, it's a push, but it's fine. I don't mind, especially with the capacity to play Ultra HD Blu-rays as well. That's another thing that kind of goes a bit uncovered, because you've got those advanced Ultra Blu-ray discs, so you can watch even higher quality Blu-rays now, because the Blu-ray player in the PS5 is a lot more. It's of a better quality. It allows the capacity for that those higher quality movies to be played.
Yeah, I think the Xbox has got it too, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted the disc drive, because I wanted to start buying 4K Blu-rays, because I think the cheapest 4K Blu-ray player I could find were about 130, 140 pound. So just paying like an extra 90 pound for it, I think, for the PlayStation 5, it was just worth it for the disc version.
Inception.
Oh, Inception is on that list, don't you worry.
All those Christopher Nolan films, 4K Blu-ray.
Exactly. I'm only going to buy the best films on 4K Blu-ray. I don't really buy movies that much. I just buy like little things from YouTube. But the big movies, like as classics, they'll be on there. Signs, that'll be on there. Don't worry.
I tell you what I've done. One of my favorite anime distributors here in the UK has just they've announced a Christmas sale. And I've just bought a load of Blu-rays, and I'm looking forward to high quality. Well, to be fair, they're not ultra Blu-ray. I don't think they sell ultra Blu-rays really, unless it's like a lucrative movie like Your Name or something. But yeah, I've got plenty of stuff to to be watching.
Is that a deaf screen? Is it, Theo? One of the many.
One of the many.
Wait a minute. Oh, I think I've sorted 2 seconds. I think I'm good. Am I back? Can you guys see me?
No.
No. How about now?
Yeah, you're back.
Yes.
Hey, I'm back finally. Sorry about that.
Bastard.
That trim beard is really doing a lot for you, but yeah. But anyway, you're back just in time to wrap it up, because I think it has gone on a bit longer than expected, but I don't know. I think we had a good chat, and I had a good laugh about things.
What time are we on?
We are on 20 to 10. Whiskey time.
Yeah, I think. And for us, for the podcast moving forward, I think it's something where, we'll be able to talk about some of the common things, maybe even the historical things, and I think for us, we have a combined 75 years of gaming experience, so it's
Jesus.
that's a lot of years, but it's good. And if you've reached this far, thank you very much for watching, or if you've been listening to us with just audio, and hope you'll join us as we delve into these things, I guess.
Yeah, if you stuck with us this far, you must be bored for a start, but thank you for sticking with us and enjoying us chat about a complete rubbish and his thoughts on consoles, and I don't know, a lot more. We're going to go in depth a lot more about like backwards compatibility in further episodes and things like that, and just any subject that tickles us fancy, to be honest with you. But if you're not wanting to watch this and you want in the podcast version, it will be out in about a week or two, I think, once we get things sorted. But you can check out this video on skypunk.co.uk, along with we've got loads of news, reviews, his own opinion pieces, things like that. There's even a link to join his Discord. So if you want to talk with us on Discord, play any games with us, if you want to die more than Theo does on Ori, or Ryan on Dark Souls, or Demon Souls.
If you just want to chat shit.
Yeah, if you just want to talk rubbish, and get your opinions on. If you want to come on the show as well, you can. But yeah, just get in touch. Skypunk.co.uk.
Reciprocate.
But many thanks for Ryan and Troy for joining for this chat. And hopefully we'll get another one out in a week or two. It just depends how things are going. But thank you for listening to us anyway.
Yeah. Thanks again.
No
Thank
worries. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Moo.